nitty gritty, alright? So today we're going to be changing the oil on a SXF KTM 450. I'm sure you guys are anxious too, that's why you're checking out this video. But me and my brother are going to do it today. So the things you're going to need is, we got a little oil filter change kit here. I'm going to show them it. You can get this at, I'm not sponsored, but you can get this at aomc.com. So it comes with a filter, new gaskets, the rear, bottom drain plug, and the drain plug filter. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with the magnet. I thought it did come with the magnet, but we can spread it off with some PB Blaster.
Part number as well.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so you need some PB Blaster, some nice gloves. You're also going to need an 8mm socket to change out your oil filter, which is right here. Or you can use, I believe it's a T27 Torx bit. And all the drain plugs are going to be 13mm. You can rock a little extension on there, so that way you don't have to be all up in there. And we just went for a little ride, so the bike's still warm. So I recommend you you go ahead and take it for a little ride, and it'll help the oil drain all out. What else? So I guess let's get. Oh yeah. So you're gonna need 2,000 cc's of what's recommended is the Motorex KTM oil. The reason you need 2,000 cc's is because the bike takes 1,200 cc's, so you're gonna have to basically dump one of these fully into the bike. So I'm gonna add a little bit into the filter, and I'm gonna pour the rest of it into the bike, and then I'll measure out the 200 cc's, and I'll start it, let it idle, and then turn it off and see where that level's at. If I have to add some more, then I'll add some more. It's not a big deal. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright. So the first thing you want to do, there's 2 drain bolts down here. There's 3, but there's 2 on the left-hand side of the bike. The main one is going to be the furthest towards the front of the bike, so you're going to remove that one first, and that's going to be your filter screen. The other one on the towards the rear of the bike, which is right next to it, which I believe that they on the 250s they're not in the same location. I believe it's just one, but the 450s have 2. But the like I said, the one in the rear is a magnet, so you can look through the oil and see if you got any metal shavings. Which metal shavings is okay, it's normal, but you don't want to see a lot. You don't want to see half the piston in there. So you're going to crack that loose. And don't be afraid, it's going to get on the frame of the bike. So wipe it all off. If you want to get in here with the pan, just make sure you keep it there. It's already gone. It's going to spray out more this way, so just be ready with it.
Are you going completely off?
I'm going completely off. So this oil is definitely still hot. And we got lucky, so we actually were able to pull the whole entire filter out at once. So we'll just let that drain. You can set this off to the side, and that looks pretty good, honestly. Take a flashlight while it's draining. Look around. Like I said, the bike's still hot. That oil was pretty hot. But I'm not seeing any metal shavings, which is good. What about you, Luke? You see any metal shavings in there?
Oil is really healthy.
It does. It looks pretty good. I don't know when the last time this oil was changed. This is a new bike to us, but that's why we're going to go over it now. And then we'll take a note on the hours. And you want to try and change your oil every five riding hours. Depending on what type of riding you do. Jesus Christ. So now we're taking out the magnetic plug, so hopefully if there's any metal debris, we'll see it on here. And like I said, you're most likely going to get a little bit of debris. So let's bring this over towards the camera. There's just the tiniest little bit of debris on there, which is really good. Yeah, you see that with the light? So there's a little bit of metal flake here, but ultimately really, really good. So I'm really stoked about that. I'm extremely stoked about that. So what you're going to do with this, you're going to want to reuse this. And you know, I heard people say get a new crush washer, I don't think we're going to need to run one here. So what we'll do So we'll wipe this off a little bit. Clean it up. And we'll hit it with some PB Blaster. So make sure you have some brake cleaner. Clean all these parts up. And be generous. Don't be afraid to use a lot. So set this all to the side. And like I said, we're going to be replacing this filter and screen here. You don't have to replace it. It's not something necessary. Just hit it with some brake cleaner, which we're going to do. We're going to hit this with brake cleaner and save it, put it off to the sides for extra parts if we need it. So that's there. And also, I'm going to remind you real quick, these two, we got lucky, like I said. This doesn't always come out of the bike. So sometimes this will stay in the bike, and this will just come out as the screw. Or drain rather. And there's no orientation, it just snugs in there, nice and tight, just like that. Okay, so while that's draining, we're gonna come over to our filter. Can you pop that open for everybody? And let's see, let's just try and keep these a little separate here. And yeah, so I'm confused with this. Oh, this has an extra one on here. That. Oh, I guess that this is in the bottom. Okay, yeah. So like I said, there's also the rear, the one at the bottom of the block, which we'll take out, which we'll go ahead and do in a second. But before installing all the fresh parts, you want to go ahead and lube up your O-rings with fresh oil. So we're gonna set this off to the side with good parts, and this looks like this snugs into here. Maybe not. Oh yeah, it probably needs to be put an O-ring in there. So this is a good part. This is a good part. Oh yeah. And the filter. You're gonna hear a lot of guys say, you know, you don't have to fill up your oil filter, but I'm gonna do it anyways, just so we can avoid any shortage of oil. And it'll come with an O-ring kit. So it looks like the O-ring kit has the green one, the larger one for obviously the oil filter, and that'll go around this housing here with the 828mm bolts or the what do you call it? T27 Torx. So set that all to the side, and yeah, let me just for verification. Does it look like there's an O-ring in there? No. Oh, okay. O-ring goes around this. Okay, understood. So there's going to be two O-rings in the new package that's you're going to go ahead and slip around here. Boom and boom. Alright, and like I said, once again, make sure they're nice and lubed up. And then there's going to be an O-ring that goes around the actual seal here for this. So okay, that makes perfect sense. I totally got it now. And this goes in the rear. Alright, there's two. Where is the O-ring?
That's only one.
So now we're going to go ahead and pop off our the lowest drain plug here. Like I said, this video is for amateurs. We're not professional bike mechanics. Not trying to be. That was extremely tight. I'm hoping that there's this filter on here that we're seeing right here, basically. I believe that that's what that is because it has that large faced outer housing. And you're gonna get just the smallest little bit of oil out of here. It's not too much. A lot of guys, depending on how much time they have, won't even drain that. I was considering not draining it myself, but like I said, I don't know when the last time this oil has been changed. I want to see what's all in here for myself. Like I said, based off of this magnetic drain plug, which I thought this kit was gonna come with, it looked really good. And like I said, I'm gonna hit it with some parts cleaner, PB Blaster, brake cleaner, whatever you have, go ahead and be generous and hit it up. There's no rubber gasket on here, it's just a crush washer. So we'll go over all the old parts that once we have them all laying out, and all the new parts that we have here. And like I said, the only thing I believe we're going to be reusing is that magnetic drain plug, which you can get new ones. I could have swore in the kit it came with one, but I guess not. And once again, what was it? AOMC.com. If you all your KTM, Husqvarna, gas parts. It's a very, very cool website. You can give them a call. Oh yeah. Yep. So I'm glad we could verify that that's what this one is that just came out of the bike, which it's that one right there. Which, like I said, we're going to go ahead and clean up all these parts, and we'll be able to reuse them if we have to. I'm very curious on why there's not O-rings on that new one, and looks like there's only one O-ring in there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe when I pop it open, we'll see. Alright, so there's that. So it looks like, for the most part, let's tilt the bike over. Since you have clean hands, you want to tilt the bike on level. So my brother's gonna go ahead and tilt the bike on level and make sure all the oil is pretty much out of there. That's good. You can let it back down. Looks like we got all of it. Oh, there you go. Way to be. You got extra oil out of there. And what you can do actually is, Luke, if you want to pick up the bike a little bit and take the axle stand out and lean it even further over to make sure you get all the oil out. You know what I mean? So push it since my hands are clean. Or Tanner, you want to come give a hand real quick? So basically, Luke's going to pop that, pull out the axle stand. And yeah, we're lucky enough to have 3 hands here, 3 sets of hands, so go ahead and dump the bike over. Keep going, you're good. And look at that, look at all that extra oil that's coming out. Keep going, you're good, as long as you got it. And yeah, I know a lot of professional guys, whatever, that have a nice motorcycle stand and they'll be able to ratchet down on one side. You're good, you can pop that back in there. Thanks, bro. That should be about it. So, like I said, I'm going to show you all the things that we have that we pulled out of the bike so far, which should be magnetic drain plug, the primary drain plug that's also next to the magnetic plug, and then the rear bottom plug, which I'm super excited that is identical to that one. So we know that that's what that is. Like I said, I'm still a little curious on the O-ring since I don't see one. And like I said, there's no orientation, but it looks like there's an O-ring on both sides of here and not one inside. Okay, but I don't know, maybe I'm bugging out. Maybe there is 2, maybe I just can't see it right now. Whatever. Moving on to the filter. There is an orientation for the oil filter. And it's also a different size socket, like I said, 8mm socket or T27 Torx bit. It's going to be your guy. So, let's see, we have, we did, this one's a little bit cleaner. Shove that there, try and collect any oil that's going to drip on your garage floor. You shouldn't get a ton of oil coming out of this thing, but just in case we do, you really should get 0 oil out of here. Considering the fact it's a little bit higher on the motor, and you're not going to want to lose these bolts. Stick these bolts out to the side. Try and not drop them into the oil pan here. Buddy, stick that with the good parts. Stick it over there, good man. You can just take these out by hand. They were just snugged up. I'm sure there's a torque spec, but I could care less about it. A lot of times, all this stuff will just be pretty much, what do you call it, snugged up. Oh. So we're taking a little oil out of there. And what do you call it? You can use a pair of needle nose pliers to pull that little cap off here. Show you. Let me get a clean one there. No, it's fine. You don't have to pull out that one. So this is the oil filter cap. As you see, the filter, or excuse me, the kit comes with another gasket. So we'll be replacing this gasket. You want to go ahead and inspect it. I mean, the gasket looks fine. So we'll probably be popping this gasket off, or you know what? Maybe we should just reuse this gasket. So I don't see any problems with it. And the other one from the parts store probably comes with a nice powder. Yeah. So like I said, we'll hit everything with parts cleaner and see if we can get that out. Do you have the like a pair of needles pliers, Luke? I'm thinking the book bag over there, right? Here. So basically, you want to take, and I have a little special tool for it. What would you call it? You know those pliers that have like prongs going outward. You pull it, and you'll be able to pull out. No, I think that they're the big ones. You know, the big boys, the big long ones. They're down in the bag right there. And once again, just take your time with the stuff. As you can see, plenty of oil still draining out. So these are a little overkill, but it'll work. So you just want to throw this in here like this. You want to stretch it out. And give it a little pull, just like that. Very simple. It's nothing crazy. So we'll add that to the tools list. You can go ahead and inspect your filter. It definitely did its job filtering, that's for sure. This thing's pretty disgusting. Like I said, there's an orientation. So when you're sticking it in, this rubber gasket here is going to be going towards the motor. All right. It's next to the parts that we took out, and you can go ahead and verify that it's the same part number 7733. You can figure it out. They look identical to the same. So what we're going to be doing right now, wash my hands a little bit. Dump that down there. Take a clean shop rag or shop towel, whatever you have, and go ahead and just stick it in there. Stick it in there, clean it out, clean around the surface. You know, don't be shy, you're not gonna hurt it. Just like that, stick that in there. Get some of that oil out. Just like that. Like I said, don't be shy, you're not gonna hurt it. It's a dirt bike. It looks like there's a little something in there. Let me get that. Oh yeah, definitely a little something in there, that's for sure. See that, buddy? Look at that. See? Just trying to get that. You got that pick? Should be the picks in, yeah. So, good thing you're taking a look in there. It looks like there's like some little flaky flakes in there. Like you have the flat one? Let's see if I can pull this out for you. Yep. Oh, I know what this is. That's not metal. That's part of the gasket, I believe. Is that? Yeah, that's part. Is that plastic, buddy? What is that? Just show a piece of it. It looks like plastic, right? Yeah. It's plastic, yeah. So, just so we can inspect that later. So like I said, not a bad idea to really take an eye and look in there. Now it looks a lot better. I don't see any more of that bullshit in there. But I don't know what the hell that could be. Maybe it's part of the filter. But no clue. We got it out now. We'll inspect it later. And what we're gonna do now is you can go ahead and, like I said, oh yeah, nice little screws. the first thing I'm going to be reinstalling and lubing up with some fresh oil is the rear drain plug. But now's the perfect time to take your flashlight, wherever it went, really inspect the oil. It's going to look a little shiny, like I said, as long as you're not dealing with any major chunks. You're really in good standing. And I believe we're, the third owner of this bike, Luke?
Yeah.
It's got about 44 hours or 45 hours on it, so I don't believe the owner really beat the dog piss out of it. You never know. So, got that there. So, do you have like a little little container that we can pour a little of the fresh oil in and lube up the new parts? And then I'll show you guys about picking off the old gaskets and putting new ones on, and where they need to go and what orientation and whatnot. Just like a clean little cup or something. You can even get something from inside, like just like I just need to put in the tiniest little amount. You think that's clean? Just something, just pour it in there a little bit. Pop one of those open for me. Just with whatever little bullshit container you can find. Would be good enough. Just pour a little fresh oil in, and like I said, we're gonna be throwing in this rear one here. Or excuse me, the one that's at the very lowest part of the motor. It's got two gaskets on it. It's got one at the very top of the filter screen, and then one around the nut itself.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to put this up.
Let me see.
What it seems like.
Yeah, just pull it up. Yep. So basically, like I said, you're gonna need one fresh one of these. So one side cap. Oh yeah. And that can just go in there. Throw it in the garbage right behind you. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this fresh oil here. Just a smidge in there. That's all you need. You don't need too much. Throw it on the ground. Luke, go ahead and put the cap back over this and spill it all. And you know what? Let's see. I guess you don't really need to change gloves. I'm kind of a neat freak, but so just dry your hands off real nice. Let me get another one of those. Okay. Alright. So like I said, swap your sockets back out. Back to the 13 mil. You're gonna take your rear main drain plug. Make sure the gaskets are seated properly, which it looks like they are. Yep. And you want to just take a little bit of fresh oil. Put it on your hand. Rub it all over these gaskets. Just like that. Like I said, don't be shy. You can wipe away all the excess afterwards. Alright, and then you don't want to throw this right into your socket and try and throw it into the engine block to avoid stripping. Just go ahead and hand feed it. It should go damn near all the way in without force. So like I said, don't be shy with the oil. Make sure it's all lubed up. It should be pretty good. Go ahead and take it. This one goes in the rear bottom of the block, just like so. Nice and easy. And we go. And like I said, if you feel like you're fighting it, take it out. You don't want this thing to fight you. How is that? So that's about in there. So what we're going to do now is come back with the 13 mil, snug it up. And here's an idea. It's probably a lot easier to strip these than it is to just go ahead and tighten it up if you have a little oil leak. So don't go retarded. Don't go fucking monkey on it. And just like that. And I made a little mistake. I should have probably wiped away the surface where it was at, but I don't think it's gonna make too big of a difference. I'm doing it here for these ones. Just go ahead and stick your shop rag right there. Wipe away. I see guys even spray brake cleaner straight into it. Like I said, we're working with fresh, nice parts. We're just trying to lube it up. The magnet will definitely hit up with some brake clean. We'll spray it right outside in the grass. And yeah, I mean, you'll obviously see it, this rear one, if it's dripping, because it'll drip on your garage floor. I hope you keep these bikes in your garage. If you don't, you're an animal. Alright, so I guess we'll go ahead and knock out the filter. Let's see here. Alright, buddy, you wanna pop that open? Oh, smells like a skunk. You got twisted, there you go. So like I said, just go ahead and take your light again. Like I said, there's nothing in there. Looks really good now. I don't know what the hell that shit was. We'll figure it out. I think it was just some sort of plastic. I really don't know what the hell it was. Other than that, it looks good in there. What do you think? What do you think? You want to take a look? Looks pretty clean in there?
Yeah, everything's on now.
Looks pretty clean. So now what we're gonna do is some Master Mechanic pro tip here. Is go ahead and fill your oil filter with some fresh clean oil. That way you don't have to worry about it being dry. The head of the motor, the oil will already be in there. Just like that. It's gonna run out, so go ahead and make sure it's around. The rubber gasket is on this side. Boom, like that. And just shove it right in. Just like that. And now, before too much oil runs out, let's go ahead and take this pick. You want to give me that big green gasket, buddy? And you want to go ahead and pick off the old rubber. So this is the old rubber gasket. Let's go hit this with some brake clean. I'm going to go spray this with some brake clean real quick in the grass. While he's getting those rubbers out. And it does, oh, I see the tube. Okay, awesome. So the kit does come with the tube for the secondary oil drain filter, so which is nice. So right now I just hit this up with some brake cleaner. And just wiping this all off. See, we're dripping out fresh oil, but it's alright. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not too worried about it. Should have had this ready to go. It's a little mistake, but you live and learn. That's why you're watching me. Right. So once again, we're going to take our fresh O-ring here. And what you can do before you install it is go ahead and roll it through some fresh oil. Just like so. Take that so kick it over. It's going to be oily. Be afraid. Go ahead and plop it around there, just like so. Make sure it's seated properly. Yo, and then go ahead, slap this back on, just like that. Yep, should feel it pop right into place. You want to give me those two 8mm screws. And like I said, once again, your hand threading everything. You don't want to feel it fighting you. And I'm sure there's a torque spec. It's KTM. I'm 100% there's a torque spec. But we're not going to be using it today. Snug is good. And like, look, guys, it's really threading in all the way. It should not fight you at all. If it's fighting you, I promise you, you're going to cross thread it. You're going to strip the bolt. Next time you take it out, whatever it is, you're going to be fucked. So go ahead, throw your 8mm socket back on, small side of your wrench. Just some nice easy turns, nice and equal. Nice and equal, just like that. Just until you get about snug. Snug is what you're looking for. You're not looking for fucking retarded tight. I don't know if you can say that. If I can take that out. Like I said, it's a lot easier to just go back and tighten it if you've got a little oil leak, okay? It's a lot easier to strip these out than it would be to go ahead and just go back and tighten it up. Alright, so the next thing we're going to be reinstalling is the magnetic drain plug, right? Like I said, it only had a little bit of oil on there. I'm super stoked about it. Just take another clean little rag, wipe it down. I'm going to take it back onto the grass and basically spray it down more brake clean. Like I said, I thought this kit came with the magnetic drain plug, but I guess it doesn't. I guess you can just keep reusing them. Like I said, same thing with the drain washer, or excuse me, crush washer. Just fucking get that shit over. There, hit it with some brake clean. Now she's nice and shiny. Super shiny. Go ahead and even take off the crush washer if you want. Clean that off. Make sure there's no little gunk or anything on there. And if you're using brake clean, go ahead and wear a pair of gloves. You're gonna wake up with fucking chafed hands in the morning. Or chafed balls. Just make sure you know no little metals on there, because you're gonna be looking for it the next time you take it out. So you don't want to basically have metal going back in there. So the next time you do an oil change, you see metal, but it's really from last time. And you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, changing it every 5 hours depending on how you ride. You know, a lot of guys who are gonna go and hit the track, you're gonna want to change your oil almost every time you race. So boom, once again, pop the crush washer on. Boom, just like that. And go ahead and stir it back into the bike. Once again, like I said, shouldn't fight you going in at all. Spikes are really well made, all the bolts are really well made. Should just go right in. Give it a couple of spins with the ratchet. And that's about it right there. That's the idea behind it. So for the very last part, and like I said, at the very end we're going to go ahead and brake clean off all the old parts, so that way if you don't have the money to go ahead and buy a whole kit for it, you can reuse these parts. This is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to put it in a little bin. You're good, you can hold on to that. You're going to hold, we're going to put them into a bin and we're going to reuse them if we have to reuse them. We're going to clean them all up, make them super nice, and yeah, super simple. Or put them on Facebook Marketplace. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, so once again, with your fresh little thing of oil here. Just a little oil in there. So, this part right here, right? There's an O-ring that's going to go around here, so you're going to take it, and it's the thicker one obviously. You're going to drop it in your oil. And you're going to slide it right over these threads. Whoop. It's going to seep all the way down to the nut. Alright, and this bolt's actually going to come with some blue thread locker on it from AOMC when you purchase it. Alright, so once that's fully seated, you can go ahead and pop this off to the good side. You're gonna take these two tiny little O-rings, throw that back in the oil. And you're gonna take a little bit of oil on your fingers and you're gonna rub it on the inside here. This plastic piece of the filter. Okay, and like I said, there's no orientation for this. Alright? You can go ahead and put your thumb on one side, slide it over the top, just like that. So that's what it's gonna look like right there. Pretty simple. And you can do the same on the other side. So put a little oil on the inside. Like I said, get dirty, get the oil in there. It's a lot better to have everything lubed up. Works a lot better in the long run. Take your other O-ring right here. Dump it in your clean oil. Make sure it's all lubed up. And like I said, these companies, they're probably going to send you with some sort of dry lubricant on them already. I was contemplating reusing the green gasket that was on the oil filter cap, but we have new ones, so might as well use them. So boom, just like that. This is what that's going to look like. Alright, and like I said, there's no orientation for this. Okay? You're going to take your new main drain plug, okay? Inspect it, make sure that that O-ring is properly set. You're going to take this, and boom, just like this. You'll feel it click, it'll click right on there. It's great, amazing, you did a good job. So take another little napkin, wipe away any little bullshit oil there. And go ahead, start, actually what we should do, take a little look in here. Alright, awesome. It looks spotless in there. I'm super happy that we didn't see any large metal chunks. Whoop. This isn't going in there now. Oh, there we go. So I guess I just gotta pop in there a little bit. There we go. So my hands are super slippery. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Now I know that it's 100% drilling in there. So it's a little difficult, but I'm gonna try and do it for you guys so you can see. You can pretty much do it with your hand. Once you're confident that it's not stripped, you go ahead and just give it some nice tightness, and you'll feel it. It's very smooth, super smooth. You can just turn it like this, and go all the way to that O-ring that we installed on the nut before we put two small O-rings on the filter. Like I said, snug is good. You can always come back and tighten it if you see your bike leaking. It's very simple. Alright? So go ahead and pop that there. This off. And go ahead and just wipe off any little excess oil you got. Alright. Like I said, we did this when the bike was hot. It's definitely warm. Oil definitely flew out really good for us. And if you want, if you're super nervous, it's your first time, go ahead. All these bolts are 13mm. Just go ahead, go back over them, snug, flip it around. Snug. Nah, that's pretty good. I don't know why it's still spinning. Like I said, I'm not going to keep spinning that. That's probably going to be good. If it's leaking, it's leaking. I'll go back and tighten it, but it doesn't look like... I don't want to keep spinning that in there. Now what you can do is, you should have about 1,000 cc's. Where's a good one? Or the one that we opened already. You sure? Alright.
Oh, you can see it on.
Alright, so awesome. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the other side of the bike. I'm going to change these gloves because it's disgusting. This is the one you already opened, right? Shouldn't have done that. See? Now you got me all confused.
Look at it.
No, I believe you. Just fucking with you. We'll go ahead and take a nice, clean Let's just stick a shot towel. And if you want, I mean, you can bring the camera over here. If not, I'm sure you can see the giant thing. It's where your clutch is at. You're not familiar with the clutch. Yeah, it'll bring it over. So right here, this is your clutch plate. Okay, so your clutch and everything is in here. Your clutch basket. It's where your clutch sits. This is also where you install your oil. So one thing I didn't know is I thought that these bikes ran with what you call it, transmission oil, but they don't. They just run off the motor oil. It runs. It's a wet clutch. So super cool. So go ahead and like I said, these bikes are a little funky. They take about 1,200 cc's of motor oil, and like I said, specifically this motor oil for hardworking off-road 4-strokes, 10W50 Motor X KTM oil. It's really good shit. That's really all I hear for guys to run in their KTM. And you put your little funnel there. Like I said, it definitely takes 1,000 cc's. So you're gonna dump one full one of these in here. Make sure you keep your little cap nice and safe. Basically, you're just gonna take your time dumping it in there. It's not going anywhere. Bike's not gonna run away from you. Just like that. And then what you can do with this empty one is you can take the other oil, the other 1,000 cc's or 1 liter that you have, and you can fill it into here to measure out your 200 cc's. So just like that. Just completely put in 1,000 cc's. And like I said, we use this same oil to fill up the oil filter and to grease up all the O-rings. So that should be about good right there. And what we'll do now, I should be able to pour this directly from this one into this one. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna look for this right here. That should be your 200 cc's. I'm almost certain, right? That'll make sense, Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be 200 cc's to the, because it's 9 and then it's basically, yeah, 9 and then it was filled to about 32, which would be 1,000 cc's or 1 whole liter. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that off. This is dog shit, you can throw that away. And the cool thing about this is so now on, whenever you do your oil changes, you can hold on to this and you basically have 8 more oil changes out of this if you buy just 1 quart each time you're changing your oil. Or excuse me, 1 liter. So go ahead and fill this into here. You're about 2. Let me know when you're at 2. You see it?
Yeah.
That's good. Like I said, go ahead, throw your cap back on this one here. You really shouldn't have to add more than 1,200 cc's, and I truly believe that it's better to run a little less oil than a shit ton of oil in these. So put this off to the side right here. So this should be, let's see here. Put it on the table so I can see it. Look at that, just below 200 cc's of motor oil. Then you come back over to your filter here and go ahead and dump that in. Super clean, super beautiful. It makes me feel happy. And I'll show you how to check. So on a lot of Japanese bikes, they say that this, what do you call it? Sight glass is bullshit, not to look at it. And that's true. But these KTM, Husqvarna, Gas, you can really use them. They're really worth using. So this is junk now. This is completely empty. Just throw it in the trash. What you're gonna want to do now, pop your little filter out, or your little funnel rather. Wipe that off. Wipe it out. Like I said, I'm a little bit of a neat freak here. Clean it all up, put it back in the funnel basket. And so here's your drain plug, or excuse me, the oil fill cap. Just wipe it off, make sure it's clean. Make sure your gasket's good. And what you can do as well, I mean, it's gonna have oil on it, but like I said, I'm wiping it off currently. I'm gonna go back over to that little thing I have, put some fresh oil around it. This is just plastic. You don't need to hit it with parts cleaner or anything like that. And he'll get down with the camera and show you basically where all the little things that I popped out were. So and just throw a little oil around it, just like this. Nothing crazy. It's just a little rubber, what do you call it? O-ring on a plastic oil fill cap. It's nothing too serious. Go ahead. And this is also something you can strip out. I see stripped out a lot. And you'll see it all over on all types of bikes. These little plastic things are stripped out. Boom. Take it, wipe it all off. Give it a little bit more snug. Boom. It's gonna go to that. It's about it. It's gonna let you know when it's tight, and you don't need to crank it down. You don't need to throw a pair of channel locks or needle nose pliers on it. All right. So what my brother's gonna do now is we're gonna slide this out of the way, and he's gonna get down, and I'm gonna point to you that lower oil drain bolt that I hit up earlier, which is right here. So that's the one that we replaced. It had a little filter on it. It's a 13 millimeter, and like I said, if it's leaking, you're gonna see it, and you just gotta tighten it up. It's a lot better than either trying to go to torque spec or you're not thinking it's tight enough, and you strip it out. It's gonna be a pain in the ass if you strip that out. So that shit was a little milky. It's all right. So what you can do now is, and then I'll show you on the other side here. If you get down, so right under the shift lever, this is the one with the long filter, okay? And like I said, if it's leaking, you're gonna see it. It's gonna drip on your garage floor. That's why you want to clean it all up before you start it, because I'll show you what you're gonna do after you start it. So all that's nice and clean. If you see it dripping, there's a reason. It's not tight enough. Just go ahead and give it a little snug, but I'm pretty confident in it. And then this is the oil filter right here. It's gonna say it on it. It says right there, oil filter. Like I said, 2 8mm bolts. Camera died. Sorry about that. So basically, once you have all your drain bolts in and you filled your bike with the 1200 cc's of oil, you're gonna go ahead, and like I said, I already filled up the oil filter. And the reason for that is so the oil's already in the head. What do you call it? You can come over and you can hit the start and the kill switch at the same time, prime a little bit of oil, get all the oil kicking. And I did that earlier. I had already done all this. So basically I started, let the bike run for like 30 seconds to a minute. And then, like I was saying before, the Japanese bikes, you don't really want to trust that sight glass, but on these KTM, Husqvarna, and Gas, 100% you can trust it. So you can come over, and you basically want your oil level to be exactly right there. So just basically above halfway, and you don't want to touch on the red line, and you definitely don't want it above the red line. So once you went over the whole entire bike, you make sure there's no oil leaks, and if there was a little oil leak, like I said, just go back, give it a little snug, and that's it. But there's no oil leaks, 1200 cc's in there, that's your oil change. We'll make a short on how to clean up the parts, so you can reuse them with some brake cleaner and everything like that. And then tune in for next week. We're gonna go ahead and change out the air filter on this side, and we're gonna do a coolant flush, because I think that they were running motor ice, which we don't want to run anymore. We're gonna go ahead and run this stuff over here, which is the KTM Motor X Coolant M30. And that's it, fellas. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it helped you guys. And like I said, it's for amateurs. Anybody can do it. Super simple.